Star Wars Outlaws is finally out, and it's exactly as bad as we expected.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and some videos are just therapeutic. This is one of them. As a diehard Star Wars fan, I was very excited for Star Wars Outlaws, but
Being excited about Star Wars Outlaws is a red flag in general. And also, are you really a Star Wars fan if you can't, even at the bare minimum, differentiate Disney Star Wars from Star Wars?
this game, I don't know how else to put it, just made me so mad because I play games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor amidst all of the crap going on with Star Wars. Like, I got 5 episodes deep into the Acolyte and tapped out. I play this game and I'm like,
Damn. I watched everything.
I get why people hate Star Wars, but I look at something like Jedi Survivor and go, yeah, that's the good stuff. I love KOTOR. That's the good stuff. Like, when Star Wars is on point, there's nothing better to me. I love Star Wars unapologetically. So when it was announced that Ubisoft Massive, the developers behind the Division games, would be working on an open world Star Wars game, I was excited because to me...
Yeah, I also was excited at this prospect of another Star Wars franchise being led by powerful independent women who hate men and yet yearn for the first strap at the same time. Yeah, same.
At the bare minimum, I get an acceptable Ubisoft templated open world, and that was perfectly fine with me because I just like to exist in this universe.
Thinking that the Ubisoft open world is acceptable is honestly deeply saddening.
Well, I didn't really even get that. I have a lot to say about this one, but I'm frustrated. As a passionate fan of the Star Wars franchise, I'm going to come across probably more harsh than other reviewers, but this game, from a design level, with its choices on gameplay, particularly the...
Oh my god, is this the new worst animation? Look at this. Look at this.
But this game, from a design level, with its choice...
She waddles up to him. He completely sees nothing, obviously, because the rodent knows how to stealth, right?
Choices on...
gameplay. And bam.
A particular...
Oh, what's happening? What are you doing? What you? And bam. Right in the right tit, I guess. I'm not even sure. So hard that the world shattered just a little bit, and he's out, baby.
Aspect of the gameplay just bugged me so much.
Oh,
the polish level here is unacceptable, from visuals to bugs. This game,
yeah, this is about exactly what we expected.
Is all over the place. And during the final mission, like, my quest froze twice and I had to quit to the dashboard and redo massive parts of the game. This happened over and over. And last but certainly not least, a lot of mechanics for the game that I was hoping were going to deliver and elevate the experience, like the reputation system or space exploration, things I'm...
Of course, these systems were absolutely abhorrent and lackluster. Obviously, did you expect anything else?
Really excited about did not deliver for me personally at all. So I have a lot to say, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to...
I pray for the people who these systems deliver to because they think they're good, honestly.
Ubisoft for the review code. If you're new here and you're into day one reviews, you're in the right place.
Bro, Ubisoft's not going to give you the next review code at this rate, okay? They lathered you up once, you did the thing, you said the stuff, but I'm assuming people just called out everyone who said good things about Star Wars Outlaws, but the early not paid promotion lathered me up like a piglet type of deal. And now it's time to switch gears.
Please consider subscribing. Let's start off at the top with what I think is one of the most vicious gameplay cycles I've gone through. This was a long 20+ hour adventure for me, y'all, and that's including side content, beating the main story. There is a lot more content beyond that if you are interested in what you're seeing, so just keep that in mind. But that's about what it took for me to roll credits on this game. But this stealth gameplay, I talked about it in my preview, but it just does not let up at all. So here is your gameplay flow in Star Wars Outlaws.
Look at these things. What is this? Metal Gear Solid?
They're going to send you somewhere where you have to be quiet. It'll tell you in your objectives, don't get caught. And they're serious about that, because if you get caught, you get sent back to a checkpoint. If the alarm goes off, you get sent back to a checkpoint. I'm talking like early 2000s level gameplay design. Like, you get caught, that's it, you're going back. And many times you'll get sent very far back, and having to redo the same missions over and over and over was annoying. Now, this would be
Stealth missions are the worst thing in games if the game is poorly designed around stealth. For example, when I played Lost Ark, in the Frozen Continent, which is the third part of the storyline or something like that, I don't even remember the name of it any longer, but there was that castle stealth mission, and Mother of God, whenever you failed it at any point, you had to start from zero. I almost quit Lost Ark right then and there, and that was like, I don't know, I don't remember, maybe like 3-4 hours in or something like that. Oh man. And then I had 2.5k hours in Lost Ark. It is what it is.
Be fine if the game was built for stealth gameplay. You'd think with it being such a prevalent feature.
Well, to be fair, this game ironically is actually built for stealth. Let that sink in.
That this would be a primary stealth game. All you have really at your disposal, though, is a takedown that's only done when you're really close to the enemy, a stun shot, a single stun shot, might I add, that takes a long time to recharge, like upwards of a minute, and then you can use Nyx, your little pet, to attack enemies or distract them, and that can be a little bit fun, but again, these are all single
Someone needs to do a compilation of stealth takedown cringe.
Takedowns. The idea here clearly is that Kay Vess is a scoundrel. She's not a soldier. We're not going to equip her with much, but this girl's missing every tool and gadget required.
Kay Vess is an absolute girl boss, okay? Do not belittle her, you filthy man.
To make this a competent stealth experience. What I'm talking about is not optional. So it's not even like, oh, Maddie, just go guns blazing, dude. Who cares if the stealth sucks then? You can't. Okay, so I have to play stealth, and none of the mechanics support it properly.
Yeah, I mean, hit them in the hip. Sure.
Because they're all bad. And this is not just a main story thing. Even in the side content I played, sometimes they're like, hey, you want to go
the fact that they don't even see her, that's so great.
Get this vault?
Yeah, hit him in the protective helmet.
Okay, you have to stealth back into this section owned by the Pike Syndicate. And
wait. And that guy didn't see it? This guy doesn't see it.
Back into this section owned by the Pike Syndicate. And if you get caught, you get sent all the way back. It totally devalues the actual content in the game because none of it is appealing since I know I'm going to get checkpointed.
Yeah, Star Wars Outlaws is not appealing. That's true.
Pointed 40 times before I get to just one place I want to get to. And in some cases, it's not worth it. Like, I got to that vault I'm talking about. Oh, I need to find key cards, so I have to go around the world, find key cards, and then stealth back in again. Yeah, it's just so frustrating. And even when the guns fly, I think the game doesn't let you play it properly. What you're equipped with is Kay's moddable blaster pistol. So she has
that has a heat meter, by the way, here.
3 different shot types. You have plasma, ion, and charge, each doing different things with the environment and on enemies. A charge shot is much more radial, targeting multiple enemies at once. Your ion is good for droids as well as activating machinery in the world. And then your plasma is like your standard damage, and you can change that for like a single shot or a rapid shot, and that's really it. Otherwise, you have weapon pickups. Think of these like power weapons in something like Gears or Halo, your E11s, your snipers, and so on and so forth. That's how you get the strongest weapons, but they're extremely limited on ammunition. And again, I know where your head's going. Well, Maddie, if the pistol sucks, then why don't you just rock with these weapons? Anytime.
Because you obviously can't do it constantly.
You press the right thumbstick to interact with anything, you drop it right away. You go to slide between a wall to load in the next level, you drop your weapon. So you're always left with just this pistol. So when all the blasters are firing, let's say I get killed in the middle of this, because the checkpoint system in this game is so awful, I'll load back in, and if let's say I had an E11 in my hand that I got from the room before leading into this encounter, I won't have it anymore, and I can't go back to go grab it. So now I'm stuck with this awful pistol. It is blowing my mind that I'm playing a game here that has so much stealth gameplay, but the combat design philosophies of a Halo game. I don't know how.
You know what's the funniest part? This sounds horrible, and this is just the gameplay in general. This is not the story. He's probably gonna be okay with the story, which is arguably worse.
How that exactly happens. That rigid gameplay structure irked me from start to finish, whether it be the side content or the main story. The game feels incredibly unaware of its biggest pitfall.
Bro, what is this? A hurricane? Look at that tree.
And does literally nothing to avoid them. There is very little diversity in this gameplay experience, and worse yet, the AI may be some of the worst.
But diversity is our ally. Diversity is our strength. Ubisoft, please.
I've witnessed in a long while. I'll let the gameplay do the talking.
This is hilarious. I mentioned, by the way, this. You could see it in the most early of gameplay showcases. The fact when you shoot someone with a laser rifle, that part of the body goes back. So if you shoot the stormtrooper in the stomach, everything's gonna stay here, but the stomach's gonna be like, boop. It's great.
Fire!
What? He's a commander. Do you actually expect him to do things? He's on a speeder. What? Oh, wait, no. He's actually just stuck on something, it looks like. Also, these are enemies that didn't notice him before.
This is not a one-time thing. There was a moment where I had just enemies sprinting at me up a ladder, and that was the only way they were navigating toward me. There are so many problems with the AI here. It breaks constantly, so that's why you're able to get through a lot of the...
The only thing Ubisoft ever coded properly was obviously Assassin's Creed Shadows, when you're going through towns with Yasuke that people bow down to you. That they made proper.
These combat scenarios, because you have this weak pistol, but the AI doesn't really shoot at you, so you're kind of good to just chill out and open fire. It's just, perhaps the most disappointing aspect for me, though, is the game's space exploration. If you are a avid Mr. Matty viewer, will
But Starfield's great, isn't it, Matty? Oh no.
say, you probably heard me numerous times say, since the announcement of Star Wars Outlaws, that I know even with Starfield space exploration...
By the way, just this already puts it way above Starfield's space exploration. Now, this is still bad, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, at least there's something to see in space, unlike Starfield.
First time say, since the announcement of Star Wars Outlaws, that I know even with Starfield space exploration not delivering, that, like, Ubisoft should be able to hit the nail on the head. They had the seamless transition from the planet to space, which reminded me a lot of, like, the old Battlefront games.
Again, the seamless transition is going to become more annoying than Starfield's loading screens, because the seamless transition is a loading screen with unskippable animations. It's actually longer than the loading screens in Starfield. That's the kicker.
I thought that was so cool when they did that. That's something that No Man's Sky does. I was like, all right, cool. So we have the transition there. And then Ubisoft, you know, they just know how to put content in an open space. Like, certainly...
No, they don't.
That'll be a fun thing to do, right? Well... 99.9% of the content you'll find in space is just gathering treasure in the nebula. So you'll be just like flying around, use your scanner, loot like 3 chests just floating out in space and move on. That's your space exploration. Mass Effect, I never took you for granted, but I promise for sure I never will, because it feels like between Starfield and Star Wars Outlaws, I am so wounded and cannot comprehend how we have not gotten a great space exploration experience in so long. But it upsets me greatly, because this was one of the things I was most excited about. This is the thing I kind of dreamt of. Like, when I thought of open world Star Wars, it's like, yes, like getting off the planet and then being able to see this.
Bro, this actually already is better than Starfield, and ironically.
Big open space and landing on derelict spaceships and trying to figure out what happened there. Like, it's almost like too good to be true if that actually did happen. So I'm left feeling just so robbed of what could have been an absolutely great experience in exchange for literally just grabbing materials. That's all there is, man. It's... oh my god. Also not it is the character models and facial animations. I'm gonna let the game speak for itself once more. Take a look.
Yeah, he wouldn't, but he told me you could mod my speeder.
Yeah.
Bro, he's gonna put you in a body bag if you stay here for more than 5 seconds. What the hell? Run, you dumbass.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Just come down to my basement. See what happens. Oh, what's that? You fell and hit your head. Well, better dissect you. That's what I'm getting currently here, okay? This guy is not touching my speeder. In fact, I'm not meeting this guy because I'm not that insane.
I've got every part you could want. I mean, mag fins, aftermarket sensors,
Yeah, sure. But in the basement.
booster coils.
How about a hydro-repulsor?
Oh,
Oh no.
uh,
That's in the basement.
no.
You just said every part I could want.
Okay, and that dialogue is exactly what I would expect from Ubisoft. And 90% female representation, okay?
I could slap the repulsor on there now. That's no problem, but without some good Durasteel struts, it'd shake loose in a day or two.
I don't think it's an exaggeration at all to say that there are moments in this game that are Mass Effect Andromeda level bad in the terms of facial motion capture. It's really sometimes bad to look at. It's distracting. Fortunately, the environments are great.
Oh, what the hell is the ugly hair clipping into the ugly face? That's sad.
But anytime the game pulls up to its characters, it is so tough.
By the way, you know what I'm currently waiting for with Star Wars Outlaws? That inevitably it comes out that Kate's character was modeled by a real woman, and as per typical, she's actually hot and gorgeous. Because this is what these companies do. They take a hot woman, scan her, do the facial things and whatnot, and then uglify the character to hell and beyond. It is crazy. I want to know, did they model this after a woman? And was that woman actually just blatantly gorgeous? Because this has happened in so many games at this point.
Tough to watch because they're so lifeless. And what's frustrating is I really do like how Kay Vess looks, the way she's outfitted, her hair.
That's a red flag.
She perfectly fits the 70s and 80s Star Wars vibe, and I feel like they just missed an opportunity here to give some extra details because there are
The Star Wars vibe is not 70s and 80s.
moments where you'll see really fully rendered cinematic cutscenes where you get all those details, and I think everyone looks great. I don't expect it to be at that level every time, but man, when you look at this game, there are certain moments it's just ugly, and that's so sad to say because I feel like Ubisoft's best strength is creating just these great looking worlds, and that doesn't really feel like it's here. Keep in mind this is based on my experience.
Man, he's really trying to, ladder up that shaft, but at the same time kind of burn it down.
Playing the game in performance mode on PS5. I did try quality mode out a little bit. There was a little bit of a difference in the texture quality, but nothing so major that I was like, oh yeah, that's it right there. Unfortunately, the reputation system is also a bust. So there are 4 different syndicates that you can influence based on jobs you take and choices you make throughout the story and side quests. Depending on your reputation level with them, you can unlock different outfits, weapons, easily access territory owned by that gang, and also access their unique vendors and contracts. I was actually extremely excited by the premise of this. You may remember me talking about this in my preview because I was thinking of how the game could not only create different levels of choice and consequence, but unlock unique gameplay opportunities with this. Sadly, this system is ridiculously easy to manipulate to the point where I wondered why it existed at all. A reputation system, to me at least, should have a sense of weight. Like, you made that side mad. This side likes you though. Here are the benefits of that. Not a system that goes,
Yeah, I talked about this also. The idea that you're gonna have criminal underground organizations where you make them mad, kill their people, steal from them, and after 5 seconds they're gonna be like, but we kinda actually like you, is stupid.
hey, you pissed this side off, but they're going to appear in a story cutscene and ask for your help and be totally friendly with you. Okay, Maddie, well, there's no
Oh wow, that's even worse.
choice and consequence in this game, so get over it. Okay, fine. Well, how about the fact that I can just run a couple of contracts for these syndicates and all of a sudden they love me again? I know it's not like Ubisoft to make a game where you have deep choice and consequence and you can miss out on content.
The graphics are just atrocious.
I'm not looking at them like they're Obsidian. I very much am aware of what kind of games Ubisoft makes, but look, when your systems are inviting in that level of thinking and presenting that, like there are moments in the story, they're like, make a choice. You're going to lower your reputation here and raise it over here. It is clearly drawn out for you what this system can do. It's just never fully taken advantage of. So what this does is definitely takes away some weight from the main story on choices you can make. I wasn't really thinking about any of them, and I wasn't concerned what any of these
Did people honestly buy the idea that Star Wars Outlaws is gonna have impactful choices? Because, yeah, that was an obvious lie.
Actions thought of me, because I knew I'd be able to win them back in like 30 minutes. So who cared? I only got a couple more complaints for y'all. I know it's been a lot, but this is therapeutic for me, all right? Because look, like there was this lockpicking mini game here. Thank God there's an accessibility option, so I'll give this one a pass. But it's a rhythm-based lockpicking game, and this is the Starfield digipick system all over again. You know, in Starfield, you'd go 10 steps, you digipick something, and then you go another 10 steps, you digipick something. You're doing it over and over, and it's just a time-consuming mini game. And I look at Skyrim, and I'm like, we figured this out like over a decade ago. Let's just lean into that. Well, Star Wars Outlaws is the latest to try to reinvent the mini game for lockpicking. I'm looking at you, Kingdom Come Deliverance, as well. We keep trying to reinvent this thing that I think Skyrim figured out perfectly. Oblivion also kind of figured out. That was another fun way of doing it. But I look at this here where you had to like match the beat when you were lockpicking, and it just got annoying fast. Not because of the mini game itself. It was cute at first, but man, when it hits you with like 3 locks in 30 seconds, yeah, I immediately went to the accessibility options and made it where I turned off the rhythm game, and you just mash R2 in my case and just fly right through those lock picks. And it definitely improved the flow of the game, because otherwise this is a content pacing killer, story pacing killer through and through. There are some navigation woes here. I feel like Ubisoft is taking the wrong lessons from feedback that's been given to them, right? Everyone talks about how they make checklist open worlds.
AAA games do not take feedback. That's one of the reasons why they collapse so often.
Their maps are vomited with icons. You can just stare at the mini map and it'll bring you to your next location, and you don't really have to pay attention to anything else around you. So here in Star Wars Outlaws, what they decided to do was create radiuses that just tell you like, hey, your objective's in this general area, and then you're kind of left wandering for a long time trying to figure things out. I noticed this was also the case in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and I just didn't like it in that.
Oh yeah, he played it. Jesus. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Don't remind me of that slop fiesta.
At either. Like, I think Ubisoft is looking at that feedback and going, oh man, like we got to change this, so just get rid of it outright. But I think there are better ways to respond to said feedback. I'm a little more forgiving of this because I can see they're trying to adjust to what people are saying online, but I think they need to go back to the drawing board on how they lay out their worlds and how the player gets to that content. They need some...
You know what's the thing? Older games had this a lot. They didn't give you an exclamation mark above the head or the item that you need to pick up. You needed to go into a location and figure out what you need to actually do, talk, and blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, it was great, because those games were made by people who did not have extra points added into autism. And, well, now games just don't have it. The reason why entering an area nowadays is like, oh my god, I'm going to spend 30 minutes here not figuring out what to do and it's going to be stupid, is because it's just poorly made. There's not enough things to interact with. There's not enough things that you want to actually see the dialogues, because, well, from the snippets of dialogues that we already saw here, you can probably tell the writing is as bad as the Acolyte. So, no one wants to interact with that. Everyone just wants to instantaneously pick up the thing and get the fuck out. Because it's just boring otherwise. It's just bad. There's nothing to gain except losing more brain cells. In older games, that wasn't the problem. You went to a place and it's like, okay, I need to find someone to talk to about thing X. And you went to people, you talked to them, and they had interesting, meaningful things to say. Here, the best part of dialogue is probably gonna be, hey, have you heard about the cartel doing bad things? Ho ho.
Some sort of more direct guide, because a lot of these city spaces, for example, are dense, and so I'll go into a radius and I'll have to overhear like one very specific conversation among a pocket of people, and so I'll have to look for like an interact icon somewhere, and like, yeah, it just kind of collapses upon itself, because I think it's trying to be so seamless that it is at times difficult to find the actual content you're looking for, and it kind of kills that content pacing. Again, I'm a little more forgiving of it because I can see they're trying to adjust. I just think they need to go back to the drawing board on this. Yeah, let's talk about the story. This is set between episodes 5 and 6. Your main character is Kay Vess. She's a scoundrel with a backstory that kind of leaves her effectively orphaned, so to speak, and she runs a heist, she gets caught, she has a death mark on her, and a lot of this story is about assembling a...
By the way, let's just move back a little bit and let me explain how absolutely shitty the dialogue here is. Okay, so here we know that he needs to find the guy who's completely not going to take you in the basement and chop you into bits, right?
City spaces, for example, are dense, and so I'll go into a radius and I'll have to overhear like one very specific comment.
So you get to talking. First of all, his aunt is black, but obviously Ubisoft 10 out of 10. And then you start this. Then you start the conversation. Did you say Tommen? I'm looking for him.
Conversation among a pocket of people.
And then you finish up the name.
And so I'll have to look for like an interact icon somewhere and like.
And she starts. Yeah, I'm his aunt. This is my partner, Shira. Oh, she's a lesbian also. That I did not notice. Great, Ubisoft. Just absolutely great.
Yeah, it just kind of collapses upon itself because I think.
And, you know, again, you don't start introductions like this in a place where it's dangerous, where you know that the syndicate runs and bad people are out and blah, 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 things happen. You know, a guy with a gun or whatever comes into the village and says, I need to find Gringo. And you're like, I'm his aunt, what do you want? I'm his aunt. And he's like, I'm gonna kill him. And then you're like, oh, no. This is the dialogue. This is the dialogue. I have said this so many times. I absolutely hate modern writing because it's so poor shit. Because almost all games fall into this at least a little bit, right? And it's the fact that you go to a place, you talk to someone, and they instantaneously treat you like you're their best friend from kindergarten and just tell you everything about them, their family, everything that you want to know. You just don't get real conversations. Everyone just treats you like you're a lost relative or something. This is especially abundant, by the way, in Starfield. There's literally not a single character that even doubts you for a millisecond. They're all just, hey, do you want to commit genocide? Cool, I'll tell you how. Who am I? A random stranger. Don't worry about it.
I think it's trying to be so seamless.
Names K, I need the speeder mod.
That it is at times difficult to find the actual content.
You work for Suran. If that's a concern, why would you instantaneously do it? Also, what the fuck?
Content you're looking for, and
oh no, what is the white one actually, the ant? I don't care. In any case, the hell is going on here? She's seen some shit, boys. What then? You're running with the pikes?
It kind of kills that content pacing. Again, I'm a little more forgiving of it because I can.
This is such bad dialogue.
See, they're trying to adjust. I just think they need to go back to the drawing board on this. Yeah, let's talk about the story. This is set between episodes 5 and 6.
Oh, also, wait, what was the conclusion to that dialogue?
I just think they need to go back to the drawing board on this.
Sorry, Kate. Tensions are a bit high. Yeah, and that's... this dialogue doesn't make sense. Oh, hey, dear, I love you. Oh, wait, are you a bad person? Then it's bad. Oh, I'm sorry. Because you're not a bad person. Why? Because you said so. Ugh.
Yeah, let's talk about the story. This is set between episodes 5 and 6. Your main character is Kay Vess. She's a scoundrel with a backstory that kind of leaves her effectively orphaned, so to speak, and she runs a heist, she gets caught, she has a death mark on her, and a lot of this story is about assembling a new heist crew to run a big heist that's going to remove said death mark, and everyone's going to get rich from it. It starts off pretty slow and honestly linear for a long while. I'm talking upwards of like 2-ish hours. Now, with
it's stupid. You get caught and then you need to rob the guy who put the death mark on you because that makes sense.
All of these syndicates, I thought there was a great opportunity for Ubisoft to tell a story about the dark underworld of Star Wars, but unfortunately, this just results in another Rebel Empire coded story. At first, I thought their usage of the war between these two was actually a really good backdrop as they were kind of flowing between.
Do you want to bet the woman is the misunderstood character that's just a part of a syndicate because she's not actually bad, right?
These moments that were happening in the movies and in the lore that we're very familiar with, but eventually you can practically feel this game forcing the point during one stretch of making this another Rebel storyline. I share a personal frustration with this that maybe you won't care about, but I'm looking for new Star Wars as someone who's like reading the High Republic books and wants to see the Old Republic make a comeback when Disney gets their act together, might I add. You know, I look at things like that versus what Star Wars does nowadays, where they're just, for example, bringing Luke Skywalker back constantly, or the fact that Star Wars is very tropey. Once they find one success, they can't just let it be that success. Like Mandalorian and Grogu works great together, but now you have like, you know, Cal Kestis and BD1, and you have Kay Vess and Nyx. It's like, you know, we can have different things and not include these stories that we've heard for what, like 40, 50 years. Like it's, you know, it's time to move things along here and try some new things. So it just lacks weight in the story department, where that was one of the most exciting things. Like as someone who grew up on Star Wars Bounty Hunter, I was excited to again get to that criminal underworld here in the Star Wars universe, where I think of the canceled Star Wars 1313 and the potential there to explore that.
Oh god, they did cancel a lot of things in Star Wars that actually seem good. And then they gave us the Acolyte. Yay.
Avenue. It is a very syndicate focused storyline, but I think the Rebel and Empire business just takes away so much from what this story could have accomplished. All in all, though, I can say ND5 is the man. This is a great character. One of my favorites in a Ubisoft game. There's some particular moments toward the end of the game that I really enjoyed with him. Like, he's a good character. Also, this game was a lot shorter than I anticipated, which I don't think is a bad thing, by the way. If Ubisoft's responding to anything properly, it's the bloat in their games, in my opinion, at least. And so Star Wars Outlaws clocked in at like 15 hours for me to beat. And that was like dropping out, smelling the roses, taking breaks. You know, I beat this game pretty quickly because you may or may not remember, I was just in LA. I got my review code earlier that week while I was already in LA. So I came home and started this review process pretty late. And I was thinking like, I might have to just do impressions. I don't think I'm going to beat this in time, but I pretty much cruised through this game and just beat it with ample time. So yeah, I would say,
I'm sorry, did the Octoprix just magically shrink?
just do impressions. I don't think I'm going to beat this in time, but I pretty much cruised through this
Yeah, the Octoprix is just magically shrinking in front of our eyes.
game and just beat it with ample time. So yeah, I
Amazing.
would say at the worst, you'll find a Star Wars story here.
Okay, and anyway, I'm done. Hopefully this is the last time we have to talk about Star Wars Outlaws. That was Mr. Matty Plays. Unless something happens, bye-bye.